back. We're live. It's Think Tech Talks here on a given Wednesday. And you know what Wednesday means. It means energy, Hawaii, the state of clean energy, which we love more than any other show because this is our major mission. Remember, Think Tech, you know, we believe in raising public awareness about the importance of tech. And tech has, you know, transmuted into energy in the past few years. You know, energy is the tech that tech was supposed to be. I'm not kidding. Okay, so we really care about energy, and we have today with us Kang Wu, who was with the East-West Center, and now he's exclusively with FGE. And you may wonder what FGE is. I'm going to tell you. It's Facts Global Energy, and he's going to tell you more. Welcome to the show, Kang Wu.
Thank you, Jay. Good to be here again. Good to see you.
Yeah, we go back, you and me. I remember the first time we met. It was on Hawaii Public Radio. We did a show together, and I was so impressed.
Many years ago.
For years, I was walking around saying, I know Kang Wu. I know that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long ago? 10 years, yeah?
Yeah, that was 10 years ago. Yeah, when I was working with my other colleagues from the East-West Center at that time.
Yeah. And my opinion of you has never changed. You are hopelessly straightforward.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Later on, we're going to talk to Fereidun Fesharaki, who will join us with Tomoko Hosoe by Skype phone out of Tokyo, because we have a map here in the studio with little red dots of all the places we connect by Skype and telephone, long distance, and every day we have. Today we had Puerto Rico in the morning. And later on, we had New York. It just goes that way every day. So how could we be happy unless we were talking? We had to talk to Tokyo today, at least once. Thank you.
Great. Yes.
So the first thing is, I think it's important that we do energy efficiency. And Chelsea Harder is here from Hawaii Energy, and she has a wonderful acronym we would like her to explain to us called NEED. Chelsea, in a short form, Chelsea Harder has a need.
Yes, I do. So NEED stands for the National Energy Education Development. This is a nonprofit that Hawaii Energy works with. It's a program to educate teachers about energy efficiency and conservation. So the goal is to teach teachers how to teach this to students, so students can implement these energy savings at home. So some of the things that the teachers can learn are the teachers get stronger understanding of the energy situation in Hawaii. They also learn about different types of energy and how energy is produced and used, therefore increasing their energy vocabulary. And then they get hands-on learning activities like demonstrations, games, and training on how to use these materials in the classroom with their students. So these workshops are free. So the workshop is free, the energy materials are free that they can take into the classroom, and then there are online resources for them. So the teachers can gain intimate knowledge about energy efficiency to teach their students professional development credits, and then they get a substitute reimbursement. So given these things, they're also eligible for an educational grant that they can apply for, which is $2,500.
Whoa.
I know.
How old are these kids? The fourth grade, it wouldn't be appropriate. They wouldn't know how to spend the money.
This is for all subjects and for grade levels K through 12.
Wow.
Right.
Wow, $2,500. I mean, what if you were in K? What would you spend your $2,500 on?
Just
he'd buy books. I know he would.
Relieve the pressure of the parents to.
So the reason why we want to talk about this now is because we have 5 upcoming workshops this spring semester. There's going to be a couple in late February and 3 in early March. They're going to be on Oahu, Big Island, and Molokai.
You know, it's great. You know, Chelsea, your program reminds me of a visit I paid to the Honolulu Theater for Youth one time on a play that had a lot to do with sustainability. Hank Rogers and Blue Planet Foundation, you know, were instrumental in putting this thing together. And it struck me that these kids were sucking it up. It was, you know, they were so impressionable. Kids, well, you know, 7 or 8 years old. When you put them in a playhouse like that and you show them a play about sustainability and you know, recycling and the like, they get into it all the way.
Oh, yeah.
It transforms them right in front of you. And I think if you're doing this with young kids, you're going to have a profound effect on their lives. But I want to ask you one question. When they come to you, before the program begins, how sophisticated are they? Do you start on a carta blanca, or you build on something that already happened?
Well, they've had some exposure to it, but the thing is, they really, at that age group, they really want to make the world a better place. And what we need to do is just give them tools to know how to do that.
Confirmation, tools, a way.
Absolutely. And these are hands-on where they can really dig into it, so it's a great opportunity for them to really shine.
It's a great program, really. I mean, I think we have to train that generation. They're the ones who are going to save the old folks.
I agree.
We think we have to save them, but the work is already done. They have to save us. So question, how do you sign up? How do I get my kid into this program immediately?
Sure. So teachers can sign up for these workshops online. They can go to hawaiienergy.com and go to the Education and Outreach tab. There's going to be a link for registration. And I encourage teachers to sign up now because enrollment is reaching its maximum. So, and for those listeners out there that know people that are teachers on Molokai, please let them know about this as well. We have one coming up on March 1st.
Coming soon.
Yes.
So tell us again what the acronym stands for, NEED, N-E-E-D?
NEED, National Energy Education Development.
Okay, Kang Wu, you heard it here on Think Tech.
Yes.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you, Jay.
Chelsea Harder, who has a need. Okay, going back to the main direction of our show now, let's talk about facts. The thing about it, in a world of opinion, sometimes wrong, facts become really helpful. What is facts?
Well, Facts is a private consulting company, and is an international company now. And Hawaiian is just one branch of the global research organization, and headquartered in London, and had the Asian headquarters in Singapore. With about 50 plus researchers, consultants, this company really provide independent research and consulting in the energy world, focusing on particularly oil market and natural gas market, and with a focus on the liquefied natural gas. So those are the the company strives to be independent voice, independent of really everything from both government, private, and but try to provide the objective views.
It's a think tank. It's a think tank.
It's a private think tank.
Okay,
consulting. Yeah, not a public think tank. But certain areas is really concern everyone, so doesn't matter.
How are you funded?
It's a private. That's why it's funded by the members of that they call clients, right? The clients of the company.
So if I want on your newsletter, if I want some advice from you, you'll charge me. That's how you fund it.
No,
yeah?
It's just like any other company. You provide public service. So we give talks like this.
Yeah.
And we speak at the public forum, like what I did.
Yes. The legislative briefing.
Legislative briefing last early this month, and we occasionally release what we call energy briefs to the journalist world, so they can publish. So those are but you need funding, right? Because this doesn't take a penny of the taxpayers' money, and you have to get fully functional. So the clients, which is have several groups. You have certain oil companies and gas companies, but also the international or U.S. government organizations like U.S. DOE, U.S. Energy Information Administration, and some local companies here in Hawaii, and organization, foreign governments, national oil companies, put it this way. So it's all over the world, and they are getting this kind of analysis. They value this analysis. That's why they subscribe to this service, and that's the source of the funding.
Okay, and so it costs money to subscribe.
Sorry?
It costs money to subscribe.
Yes. if you really want to become a regular member, other than the public service part of it.
So all over the world, how many offices do you have?
I would say half a dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many people are?
About 50 to 60 around. Yeah, 50 to 60 around that.
And
60
they're all
people.
expert like you. Well, nobody would be quite like you, but all somewhat expert.
It is. It has different backgrounds, and it's kind of all varied backgrounds, but all focusing on the energy analysis. That is a common ground, and the area covered is really wide ranging. You know, you talk about specific, like Hawaiian refinery, individual refineries, all the way to like geopolitical issues and Middle East politics and U.S. really geopolitical issue, the rise of the U.S. oil production, what that means for Asia, and the shale gas revolution in the U.S. What that means for the
So it's all about energy. It's big and small.
It's energy, right? It's we need energy, right? We just need to use it more wisely.
Yeah. So I mean, give me the profile of somebody who would buy a subscription to the Facts newsletter. I mean, what kind of company or person would like to have the information, the analysis, the recommendations that you provide? Who would that be?
Well, it's in the categories I just mentioned earlier, the majority will be the energy companies themselves.
Oil companies.
Oil companies and gas companies.
Gas companies.
And utilities.
Utility. How about a wind farm? Would a wind farm want to do that? PV manufacturer?
Not really. Not the independent wind farm company. And because for them, if really the technical service, they probably look into the company that provide technical service, wind farm and other areas. But if with the wind farm and renewable energy policies, if that is the area, then you have government agencies and you have national oil companies, national research organizations, and they are subscribing to this because they are studying the renewable energy policy that related to fossil energy. But if you, because we also provide technical service, right? So for those people who are seeking wind farm, solar technical service, this is not a company that they turn to for technical service. You have plenty
policy. You're into policy. You're into large concentrations of capital, large issues of policy. All right.
Right. Energy policies and specifically technical service in oil and gas areas.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. That's Kang Wu. He's a principal of FGE, which is Facts Global Energy. And this is Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy on Think Tech Talks on a given Wednesday. And the title of our show, I didn't mention it before, is How Long Will We Need Oil in Hawaii? It's a really major question. We're going to take a really short break. We'll be right back. And when we come back, we're going to find out much more about Kang Wu and how he got to be where he is today.
I'm Hong Jiang, host for Asia in Review on Tuesdays.
And I'm David Day, host for Asian Review on Thursdays. Both of us broadcast our respective shows at 4 p.m.
And my topics tend to deal with questions related to environment, culture, history, and sometimes human rights.
And my shows tend to be on international business, foreign policy, geopolitics, and national security. And you can watch our shows live on the ThinkTech website at thinktechhawaii.com.
And you can also watch us on YouTube or Olalo.
So come join us on Thursdays at 4 p.m. I'm David Day.
And on Tuesdays at 4 p.m., I'm Hong Jiang.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Okay, we're back. We're live. We're here on Wednesday in Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy, which is sponsored by DBED, Hawaii Energy, and Hawaiian Electric, which we all appreciate, all of them. And we're talking about how long will we need oil in the state of Hawaii with Kang Wu of FGE, Facts Global Energy. And as we left it, we were about to find out exactly how Kang Wu got to be where he is after his childhood years in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm only kidding.
Thank you, Jay. I came from China. Yeah, I came to Hawaii really long time ago. I came here in 1985, and I was a student of University of Hawaii. I got my master's degree and a PhD from UH. and got a job opening at East West Center. So my whole career life is with the East West Center, was with the East West Center until like end of last year. So I joined in '93 and finished just a month ago. Really enjoy my life there, and all these 20 years I engaged in the area of energy, environmental, economic analysis of the issues in the Asia-Pacific region.
When I first spoke to you, you were mostly in economics, yeah? You were
Economics,
an economist,
right.
yeah.
You're still in the energy field. I'm still an economist.
Yeah. But once you're an economist, you're always an economist. You can't get it out of your system. Yeah.
Like an engineer, yeah. It's in a way that is the case. Yeah. So right now I joined FGE fully, and about 2 years ago, my time at the East West Center was down to half. And so I got involved in the FG work more, and now I'm fully with this company. For all these years and decades of work, I did a lot, starting from Latin America to Asia Pacific region, and a lot of work on China itself, the country that
Boy, has it ever changed in energy in the last few years? Whoa.
Oh, it changed tremendously. It's like it's a huge now is a land of all problems, and much bigger problem than Hawaii. That is kind of too big to solve, and I think for that we are facing a smaller issue, but for our islands, it's still a big sort of choice we have to make for the next decades.
Well, all of
20,
that considered,
years.
you know, I don't mind. I mean, I would like to ask you, all that considered, everything you know, everything you studied, your entire life, focused into one statement on energy in Hawaii, past, present, and future. What is it?
The statement will be options, options, options. Now we are at the good time to have more options and more workable options, because for about, I would say 40 years, 50 years, at least 30 years ago, we were talking about how to get away from oil, over-dependence on oil. Even though I'm an oil specialist, we all agree that we're over-dependent on oil. But how to get away, and some of the language by people talk, it kind of are similar to what they did 30 years ago. But as kind of expert, I believe that we are having hope now, because we are in a stage that there is a direction we can go to, and there are some there are things we can do, but we need to do it because of too long of being the status quo for the state, and how we can move forward. From here, we need to make some critical choice.
Okay. Wow. I'm resonating with that. You know, so we're not moving fast enough for you. I think I got that. Did I get that? Yeah, we're not moving fast enough.
Yeah,
for you.
we need to move faster. Yeah.
What do we have to do? What's the first thing we do?
Seriously study all the options. Don't just say it. You know, the easiest one we say is renewable energy. Yes, that is and we're doing quite okay. You know, we're doing well. Talking about you were there the 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, that we are closer to about 15% of the power generation made by renewable energy, compared to under 10% for many years. That's a good progress. And there is some technical sort of potential revealed by studies that we can move to 40%. But how long, how soon can we go there? And in the meantime, our dependence on oil still very high, both on the overall energy structure and the power sector. While we're moving relatively faster towards renewable energy, we should consider seriously how to get away from oil. That here comes I think the main thing I want to say. There is a choice. It's a cleaner fossil energy, that's natural gas. That we are having this kind of choice in front of us.
Okay, let me ask you a question now. Why don't we just do PV everywhere? PV everywhere. My house, your house, the top of this building, everything down the street, PV everywhere. Why not?
Well, PV doesn't solve your transportation issue, that you still have drive cars and where the gasoline will come from. You either have to produce locally or you have to import. From the electricity point of view, I think you talk to many people. There is the safety, reliability, and grid issue that you need utilities, regular utilities, reliable supply, and the Hawaiian Natural Energy Study Institute study demonstrate that already. You have to have a resource option. PV alone cannot solve the problem, that's for sure, but it certainly improves the. I mean, more and more PV will give you a higher RE, renewable energy share, and will help the path towards the situation that with.
How would you solve the interconnect problem, Kang Wu?
That's the issue. That's why you need more reliable energy supply, not just talking about intermittent sort of only intermittent wind farm, PV and solar. You need another option as your base load, and your base load and that base load plus kind of potential transportation penetration provide sort of the condition that we can switch away from oil and towards a combination including natural gas, which is liquefied natural gas for that matter. You combining gas power with more and more renewable power is the best solution. Put it this way, in my mind.
Okay, so and we don't have to go into renewable. Well, I mean, I just want to ask you one question. You know, we started out with like 10 renewables, right? Everything was in the pot, and there were a lot of people that said, "Oh, we got to try everything." There's all, you know, we got to be egalitarian about this, and democratic. So everybody, every single renewable possibility gets a chance. You know, from wave action to algae to everything. It's everything. But that seems to be going away. That way of thinking. It seems to be that the outline is revealing itself. And so when we talk about renewables now, we're only talking about a handful these days. What are the prevailing renewables in your view of it?
Wow, that's a good question. I think you have a good description of the situation that even we try 10 different things, of course, most of them on a theoretical stage, that I want to say that market and consumers, they are the king, right? They decide things, right? Unless the government fund everything, otherwise, you know, you can talk, but you cannot implement. Yeah. You're right. I think nowadays is quite obviously the wind farm and the solar PV for that matter, and those are and efficiency improvement and some you know waste solid waste energy which we use in Honolulu, and some other acceptable technologies like CHP, cogen. Those are the workable sort of the size are different. I mean, size vary from one type to another. Yeah. Those are the workable, being operational.
Okay, so you have a sort of a refined profile, a better defined, if you will, profile of renewables, and then you have LNG. Okay, and on the far side of that, I think we have to throw this in the pot, so to speak, is geothermal. We have geothermal.
Right, geothermal in a big island. Correct.
So, so how do you see this all unfolding? You know, like step one, what? Step two, how do we get where we're going to go with these three, and in what proportions and what dispositions?
I think one of the main opposition to the natural gas is people seem to suggest that if you use natural gas, you prolong your process towards more renewable use. I think I have a different view and on that. So we talk about from point A to point C. Point A is our current status. You know, we make great efforts, 14% renewable power generation, but still dominated by oil. Point C is, let's say, our desirable target, 50% of the renewable energy, for that matter, or 40 or 50%. From A to C, we have a B, we have B, stage B. I think if you don't consider natural gas, I'm not saying natural gas should be the way to go. I mean, we have to study seriously and even even put in some money for the infrastructure study and to compare. If we don't go gas, that means our use of oil or dominance of oil will be much longer, will kind of be prolonged for another 20, 30 years before we reach C. But for this 20, 30 years intermediate stage, we should consider other options. And that option, most viable, is really clean natural gas. Natural gas is not 100% clean for carbon, that's for sure. But other than that, it's pretty clean for other impurities and can solve the problem of the issue that we are burning fuel oil right now. And I know HECO and the other companies, they're testing, they're doing things.
But we're still burning fuel oil.
But the things that they are testing in a sense that maybe burning fuel is not fuel oil is not acceptable, maybe 5, 6 years down the road. So that means you have.
You mean politically?
No, not politically. It's environmentally and the government regulation.
Okay.
And that means you have several choices. You can move to a more expensive ultra low sulfur diesel, or you can choose LNG. In our mind, in our view, LNG is cheaper and give you a lot of good support. Just remember, we have to keep in mind that whatever we talk about, cost is a big issue. Everybody agree to that. Consumer have to be kept in mind. It's not that you pay double the price again to get everything clean.
But cost is not the only feature. I mean, sometimes you have to moderate the feature of cost, the vector, the element of cost with other considerations. You can't just always take the cheapest one.
No, if we only take the cheapest one, we go to coal. So that's a clear choice.
That's just
no,
what we need.
But compare with the relative cleanness of the natural gas, compare with the continuous use of oil or more expensive diesel, and compare with that, natural gas is a better choice, unless you can jump into renewable right away, which is everybody knows is impossible. So our choices are better than before, but our choices are also, how to say, critical, and now I say limited, because it's not like you. Because status quo is the easiest. Don't do anything and just prolong the process. But even that cannot be sustained if you cannot burn fuel oil. Yeah. Then you have to think about cleaner oil products.
Okay, we're gonna take a break at this point, Kang Wu, because we want to connect up by Skype and telephone with Fereidun Fesharaki and Tomoko Hosoe in Tokyo. And we'll take this short break to get connected, and then we'll come back and we'll have them all on the line all together here. Here in Hawaii, the state of clean energy, discussing how long will we need oil with Kang Wu and others at FGE, Facts Global Energy. I'm Jay Fidell, and I'm promising you we'll be right back.
Aloha. I'm Nicole Horry with the Think Tech Commentary. The PUC has established an investigative docket to determine the advisability of an undersea cable connecting the Oahu and Maui electrical grids. It has scheduled public meetings on both Oahu and Maui to invite comments on the proposal. The PUC is investigating whether a transmission cable between the two islands is in the public interest and whether the benefits to ratepayers would exceed the costs of the cable, which DBET estimates would be $700 million. The PUC also wants to know about development risks and how they would be mitigated. With the remarkable increase in PV in the islands and the availability of new grid technologies, it may be possible for each island to generate renewables that meet its own demand and to have separate renewable grids for each island instead. At the same time, an island that depends heavily on a source of renewables, such as PV, may be vulnerable to local changes in the weather or an unanticipated problem with that single method of energy generation. The ultimate question for the PUC, then, is not simply whether an undersea cable is good for Hawaii, but how we can achieve layered redundancy for a resilient statewide system. ThinkTech believes that a great state needs ample power distribution, and that the proper approach is to start with this undersea cable, not only to bring the separate island grids and the state together, but as part of a strategy to achieve the security and safety of redundant systems. I'm Nicole Horry with this ThinkTech Commentary. Mahalo.
Right back.
Yes.
Okay, we're right
Okay,
back.
thanks.
We're here. We're connected with Tokyo, and that means that we're going to put a little red dot on our world map, showing we had a Skype call with Tokyo because we want to make the whole map red. This is Jay Fidell at Think Tech Talks. We're here with Kang Wu in the studio in the Pioneer Plaza building in the core of downtown Honolulu on Wednesday in Hawaii, the state of clean energy. We're talking today about how long will we need oil. And we're joined in Tokyo by Tomoko Hosoe and maybe in a few minutes, Fereidun Fesharaki. They're also with FGE, Facts Global Energy. And what we want to talk with them about now for the balance of our show is the global picture in oil and natural gas from their point of view as principals of FGE. So, Tomoko, can you give us your thoughts about how long Hawaii, will take to get off oil? How long we need oil, and how does that play with the world oil market availability and pricing? And how does that, and this is not an easy question, and how does that play with natural gas? Wow, what a question. Are you ready to answer that question?
This is Fereidun Fesharaki. I can start, maybe Tomoko can continue.
Okay, good. That's Fereidun Fesharaki, principal of FGE, Facts Global Energy. Thank you for joining the show, Fereidun.
By all means, in terms of the global oil and natural gas markets, we have global prices for oil which are in the range of $90–100, and this has been the case for the past 2 years. We expect over the next 4 or 5 years for the prices to drop by anywhere between 10 to 20%. But over the next year or so, they're likely to remain the same. But in the United States, the natural gas prices have been far lower than the international market. Today, because of the winter season, the prices have gone up significantly. But as far as we are concerned in Hawaii, the price of gas is not impacted by what happens in the United States, but more by what the price of oil is. Since our natural gas in Hawaii is derived synthetically from petroleum products.
Well, but let me ask you this, Fereidun. If the price of oil is going to be stable or go down for a little while, why do we need a bridge fuel like natural gas? Why don't we just make all efforts, and steam ahead as fast as we can to a pure renewable solution? I'm sure you have an answer to that, but I thought I'd ask it anyway.
I'm sorry, to move quickly towards what? I didn't hear you.
All renewables.
So if it is, the issue with all renewables, of course, is this. First, what is the base load for power generation? Is the base load going to be power? They're going to be renewables. The base load is going to be fossil fuels. If you want to make base load renewables, then you must have much larger production available in the first place. And of course, as you know very well, that in Hawaii, where there is the best sun and the best wind available, still renewable energy has to be subsidized. That even at the higher price of oil, subsidies need to be given. And while we can continue this movement, I think we must be careful not to do anything to increase the rate for electricity even higher. In Hawaii, it's already the highest in the nation.
Yes.
So it has to be done very slowly and very carefully. A full move to one area would indeed result in higher prices. So it has to be very measured and slow in order for it to be absorbed in the society.
Mm-hmm. So but it sounds like to me the demand for world oil and the peaking oil, moment in history is not as much a crisis as we thought it was going to be. Am I right?
I think that's absolutely correct. That the idea that we're running out of oil is no longer an idea to be taken seriously. We have plenty of oil and plenty of gas, at least until the end of this century, if not longer. So the supply issues are no longer critical. The issues of interruption and the Persian Gulf and the wars disrupting it, at least for the next 20 years, are not relevant issues. The issue would be only environmental and creating a diversified supply source. That gives incentive to look at all the different aspects and options. But before, we had the gun to our head that what happens if there is a problem in the Straits of Hormuz are closed and we're not going to get the oil. It doesn't matter anymore. As particularly the United States, we are moving towards self-sufficiency in a very strong sense. By 2015, U.S. will produce more natural gas than Russia. And by 2017, more oil than Saudi Arabia. So the picture has dramatically changed, and we need to adapt ourselves to the new picture and look at these issues as diversification strategies rather than energy security issues.
Aren't you worried about the environmentalists' claim that fracking will do permanent and unnecessary damage to the environment?
No, I'm not worried about that. It's the issue of spending money to do it right. And it is really requires a strong regulation, which actually does exist, but maybe strengthen the regulation to make sure that they do it properly. If it is done properly, then it does not create problems. And if it does create problems, then there should be punishment to go with it. But, you know, the United States now has moved beyond the point of no return. We're looking at 3 to 4 million jobs coming from the shale gas revolution and several $1 trillion of income. The train has already left the station. It cannot be changed.
So you're saying one thing I think is really important to recognize is that fracking can be done right. It can be done in a way with appropriate technology that will avoid all the methane issues and you know, carbon release issues. So what is the secret? Can you tell us briefly what the secret is?
I think the new technologies are being developed, which would do fracking by air. The whole idea of fracking by chemicals and fracking by the way it's been done at the moment, which results in contamination of water. These issues, the technology which is already in progress, and I would expect within the next 2 to 4 years, it will be on the market with allay the fears of many who worry about the contamination of water by looking at different technologies. But it's a matter of spending more money and being a bit more careful.
Let me ask you one other thing, if I may, and that is you know, this issue about infrastructure in Hawaii. In order to get natural gas here, we have to spend a certain amount of money, you know, building infrastructure, and I guess that includes Jones Act ships that would bring the gas here. We have to build, you know, processing plants here or maybe offshore. This is going to cost a lot of money, and when you consider that as against the fact that this is not intended necessarily as a permanent solution, but maybe a bridge. I'm not sure that's your thinking, but I mean, that's what people say. Is it worth the investment? Does this pencil out if we spend the money on the ships and the processing plants?
It's not that much money.
Okay.
Talk about a few $100 million. If you compare these costs with variety of costs, and in terms of how much oil we buy, this is nothing in that basis. It's sort of a small fraction. And these are technologies which already exist. And you buy an option, and you buy flexibility, and of course you get cheaper gas. But in terms of the total amount of investment, these are not huge investments by international standards. I think everything can be handled with a few $100 million.
Okay, well that's pretty good. And then what system would you put in place to retire it? You know, I mean, I would have some concern that you know, knowing very little about this, that once you put this in place, everybody will be you know, become habituated to it. It'll be cheaper than anything else, and we'll say, just as we said for oil, oh, this is our permanent solution. How do we make it a permanent solution, Fereidun, or do we make it a temporary solution with an exit? And what is the exit?
Well, that's a sort of a very tough question, because you're asking people to judge the future, and nobody's clever for 20 years. But to make these projects work, your transition period has to be at least 20 years, otherwise the investments are not worthwhile. So you say, okay, from 2018 to 2038, I go to this, and I have a long-term plan that I'll phase it out. But at that time, hopefully, the technologies for renewable energy, or for wind energy, for cables have improved and the costs have come down. And at that stage, you can move in there. But if you get to that stage and the costs have not come down, and there are other ways, other renewable or non-renewable sources are found, then we have to evaluate. So we can't predetermine the future. We can only predetermine the direction and the intention that we want to go.
Well, what I hear you saying, which I think is really a great approach, is this requires reevaluation from time to time. Whatever plan we make, it's not a final plan. The whole transformation to clean energy, or a new chapter in energy, requires us to look at it at appropriate times and see how things have changed, and then take another analysis, so that we're not locked into anything forever. We're always looking for the best solution available at that particular time. You agree with me?
I think that's correct. I think that's exactly what I'm saying, is that these things are directional. So even the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative, we have to look at it as direction. So the direction is defined, and we know where we want to go. The issue is that every now and then we have to see, has the world changed? Do we need to evaluate? It is, I think, foolhardy to say that, no, I don't care about the rest of the world. I'm just going to do this myself. So you reevaluate. And, we can't forget about the revolution which is taking place. Now, in Hawaii, there are lots of people who are experts on renewable energy with great expertise. Those who know about the oil and gas market are very limited. And we have created a very strong source in the company and within the East West Center. Unfortunately, we all have left the East West Center.
Oh, yeah. Can we take a minute? Can you tell us what happened there? I think people, our listeners, would really like to hear it from you, Fereidun, about exactly what happened, your departure and your current situation.
Yes, what happened, of course, is that people like myself, I donated my salary for many, many years to the East West Center, and it was almost a no-cost proposition. And we provided a nucleus for the East West Center so that both international and domestic local issues can be studied in great depth. But we have found a change in management, which has occurred many years ago, and management essentially has gotten rid of any kind of thinking and research. They're not interested in deep thinking. They're interested in bringing people together to shake hands and say hello. And we have protested this many years that the student program, the graduate program of the East West Center, which is a foundation of the East West Center, and the research, which was a foundation, both of them have been essentially destroyed. And we resigned in protest against that, hoping that the Board of Governors, the society, takes a look that this is a great resource and is going to waste and is not focused in the new areas. And that's one of the reasons the financial viability of the center is in serious doubt, because the center has nothing to show to outside. And when they say, what are you doing today, which the world needs, is almost nothing. Meeting people and holding hands is not enough. Substantive thinking, substantive planning, and real quality research is what is missing. And I think that's the reason that we have left to highlight this issue to the people in Hawaii.
When you talk like that, Fereidun, you make me understand why I like Shasha so much.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Anyway, I just like to, we have a few minutes left, not more than 5, and I wanted to sort of shrink it back to where we are right now today, and Kang Wu and I were talking about this sort of in a preparatory way before, but if you, and I'm asking both of you, all three of you, if you will, what your view is on the step that Hawaii should take right now. We're hanging in the balance somehow. We need to get moving in some step. What should that step be? Where do we go right now? Okay, who wants to go first?
Actually, I will go first. Actually, we have no choice. We have no choice. We have to go towards natural gas. It is not a matter of saying, well, I have choices, so I won't do this. If I want to go full hog renewables today, the technology and availability is not there. I can't say, okay, I'll phase out oil and I'll go to renewable the day after tomorrow. I'll do it. No. This is a much longer proposition, so we have no choice but to go to gas.
Fereidun, if I said to you that today there was new technology designed that would make storage, for example, storage of excess wind and PV power possible on a large scale at a cheap price, would you change your answer?
Yes, I would. If you could give me a base load volume for, say, 1,000 megawatts of power at the prices which are better than what we have today, I would say yes. Mm-hmm. And in fact, if that was the case, it would have happened.
Yes.
Why is it that the PUC is tearing down so many of the project proposals? Because that increases the cost. PUC's job is to make sure the cost doesn't go even higher. So we have no choice. We have to go to natural gas and then wait for technology to bring the cost down and then see what happens to the price of oil. We cannot predetermine everything in a world which is changing so dramatically.
Yes, it's all a matter of catching the change, isn't it? And knowing where you are on the dynamic of the change. Kang Wu, you had something on this.
Yes. And I'll also pass on to Tomoko-san, who may...
Oh, yes, okay. We haven't heard from her. So let's hear from Tomoko-san.
Hello?
Yes, Tomoko-san, can you give us your thoughts on the steps to take right now?
Would you repeat the question
Can you
again?
give us your thoughts on the steps that Hawaii should take right now to proceed on its mission of getting off oil?
Yes. Okay. Dr. Fesharaki and I have been in Tokyo this week because there are some important events taking place in Tokyo. We have election for Tokyo governor, and the Japanese government will come up with a new energy policy in a month or two. And that should show how the Japanese public perceives the current energy policy we have in Japan and what changes Japan should have. So after Fukushima, Japan has increased the significant import of LNG and oil for the power generation because we don't have a nuclear power plants operating today. And already today, we have 47% of total power generated by natural gas. And Japan imports almost entire natural gas we consume as a form of LNG. So we import 87 million tons of LNG. So Japanese government realized that 70% dependency on any fuel, even natural gas, this is too much dependence on one type of fuel. So the Japanese government coming up with new energy policy, hopefully in February, that the government essentially is saying that the natural gas, LNG, cannot be the base load generation capacity for Japan. So naturally, Japan would have to have the nuclear and coal coming back. So the key is the balance. The key is the diversifying the fuel source for the Japanese government. So now Hawaii is looking at the natural gas and other options. Maybe Hawaii has a lot to learn from the Japanese history of the how the energy policy had been formulated, and we had a very ambitious target in the past for the nuclear. Japanese government was targeting for 50% nuclear dependency prior to Fukushima disaster, but now we revising it and evaluating what was wrong. So we would have a new energy policy and also new Tokyo governor. We would have some implications because Tokyo is the capital of Japan and highly dependent on nuclear generation.
Yeah, well, it's a learning experience for sure. It sounds like that's a good flexibility to learn by what happened and to reorganize. But one thing comes to mind is if everybody in the world is turning to liquid natural gas or natural gas of one kind or another, that means that the price of natural gas will go up, right? And if they're turning their backs on oil, it means the price of oil will go down. So aren't you a little concerned that if everybody turns to natural gas as an element in its production, we'll wind up paying more than we thought?
Yes. So what is happening in Japan is the utilities. We have both power and gas utilities. They both import LNG. And they are, as well as the government, are concerned about LNG prices because that is the cause of the deficit of Japanese trade balance. So government as well as the private companies, they are formulating whatever the method that they can bring the sort of the prices down. But again, I mean, this is like a public companies importing LNG, so the government can do to an extent. But the government is also sending the message to the LNG suppliers as well as other Asian buyers that the content of LNG contract has to be reviewed. That should give more flexibility for buyers.
Well, one thing is clear from this discussion is that now, knowing that Japan has become, has gone to this stage of policy planning, that we have to watch carefully to see what they do, because this could be very instructive for Hawaii. And I want to thank you, Tomoko Hosoe and Fereidun Fesharaki, for joining us. We're almost out of time, and I want to give one moment
thank you for having us.
Oh, absolutely. I want to give one moment to Kang Wu to close, and also to say farewell to you now that we're all together, at least for a moment.
Okay, thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tomoko, Fereidun. And yeah, that was a great conversation. I want to pick up the point Fereidun mentioned about the user center. It's really kind of a big regret that we had to leave. We used to do the huge project for State of Hawaii, for Department of Energy at the user center. But because of the policy change there, because of leadership change, the new directions, research, as we did, couldn't really sort of continue. So we had to leave, and we continue to serve Hawaii, and we provide our best sort of opinions and advice to the state of Hawaii in different ways. So back to your last, sort of the thoughts on the last question about steps. I think we, for decades, we know our target, which is more renewable. But we know that we want to get away from oil. We have been doing renewable all the time and now doing more. But we cannot just continue status quo without other big kind of a change, because if we don't make a decisive change, we'll continue to be heavy dependence on oil for 3-4 more decades. So we need to do something, and here comes with more choice, and here's natural gas. I even consider nuclear, for like research nuclear small device. But I'm just saying that for the sake of argument, those other things should be the base load and the basic energy supply should be fundamentally considered. And in addition to, other than just oil, other than just slowly moving towards renewable. So we have to do something. That's the next step. Seriously, not just talking.
Okay.
We do something.
Kang Wu and Fereidun Fesharaki and Tomoko Hosoe, thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. One thing is absolutely clear in neon lights, and that is we have to talk to you some more on a regular basis. I hope you don't mind. We admire you greatly, and we want to stay in touch with you forever.
Great pleasure. Thank you, Jay.
And good luck on the company, okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you all. Aloha and sayonara.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, Fereidun.
That's Hawaii State of Clean Energy. How long will we need oil? And we'll be back tomorrow with Thursday Science and Michael DeWert, our chief scientist here at Think Tech. Aloha.